What's a dirty secret that everybody in your industry knows about but anyone outside of your line of work would be scandalized to hear? Lawyers generally do not dislike each other. The prosecutor for your son's case and his defense attorney may very well be good friends. My brother, upon finding this out, went and got a new lawyer who basically told him, "Hey, literally every lawyer in this area is at the very least golfing buddies with that guy." My brother doesn't have the best sense for one reason or another, and while he's sticking with this new lawyer, he still can't wrap his head around the fact these guys aren't with or against him once the clock strikes 5, and gets pissy about how they're probably plotting against him. When repairing furniture, a lot of times we just use a marker to cover up scratches. Granted, they're carefully selected to match the color, of course, but they are still just normal markers. Tech companies that offer breakfast, lunch, dinners, and other amazing sounding perks are just doing whatever they can to keep you at work for as long as possible. When I worked in a call center at Dell during Christmas time, they would roll lunches of either Chick-fil-A or something from the cafeteria up and down the aisles so you could just grab one and stay at your desk. Outside of lunch, they would roll carts stacked high with fruit or candy bars. Just stay on your phone and keep selling computers. Those totally jacked up personal trainers didn't get that way from the protein supplement they are trying to sell you. Not really my industry anymore, but I used to work in a pet store, and now I work for a vet that works closely with several pet stores. If you're in a pet store that sells snakes, there's like a 75% chance at any given time that there's a snake loose in there. I work at a grocery store bakery, and the cake comes to us frozen. We hand decorate most everything, but the cake part is baked at our warehouse and shipped to us frozen. People are genuinely shocked that we don't make every single thing from scratch every day. That would take so long. There's no way. My own family raved about how good our cakes are, and when I told them how they come suddenly, they're garbage. It's just a grocery store. IDKY, everyone expects handcrafted artisanal cakes baked fresh every 10 minutes. Edit, just to clear this up in case you're imagining rock hard frozen cake. They don't get solid like ice. You can cut them while they're frozen or even crumble them up with your hands. They get way softer after they thaw, but TBH, some cakes taste better if eaten while frozen. Chocolate especially emo. Drug abuse of every kind is normalized in the restaurant industry. It's crazy how many alcoholics, casual coke users I've worked with. Although heavy drugs are very much frowned upon. People will boast about killing a bottle of expensive whiskey the other night. In my restaurant experience, the heavy drugs weren't even frowned upon. The kitchen staff sold to everyone who worked there, definitely including management. And that was considered the nice restaurant in town. At any given moment, the whole staff is probably high drunk. 99% of tech support is using Google. Most issues could be handled by the user if they simply Googled it. And the ones that cannot be solved with using Google cannot be solved by the tech support either. The actual price of eyeglass lenses. I'm sure my new $275 lenses probably cost $5.10. I can tell you Maui gyms are about $20 to make. Then $100-150 to retailers and twice that to the customer. Used to be in theater. Casting couch sheet is prevalent in some professional circles. And sleeping your way up, or having to show skin to audition, is not surprising to hear about. The whole Kevin Spacey thing recently? Yeah. I was being told stories about Kevin Spacey when I was in college nearly 20 years ago. How he was trading an understudy role to young man he fancied in exchange for sexual favors. It was always just a yeah. This exists. You can choose to participate or not. People don't really judge either way. It's an entire industry with 100 times more aspirants than needed. Many of whom are young, desperate, and good looking. And a small number of powerful people with artist egos holding all the cards. It is the least surprising thing ever. The folks in the ambulance with you, regardless of what you are being charged for care transport, are making between $9 and $25. No one I know makes the upper end, an hour. They genuinely care for your health well-being, so long as you genuinely need their service. But could be in the middle of the 16th of December 24-hour shift. Teacher here. We know that a percentage, depends on the school, of our colleagues are doing a crap job and we cover for them because we can't find anyone better. Or the principal simply doesn't care. Almost all of the calls you hear on your local radio station are not live. They were recorded during the last song or during a commercial break. There are many sneaky ways to make a call sound live. Thank you for saying this. Too many people can't understand that phone calls on air are clunky and awkward. If it goes smoothly, it's fake. You can tell when everyone understands each other perfectly the first time without saying what. Dropping a call. Cutting out. Or talking over each other. But over in the talk radio section where real calls are actually happening. Getting live callers to the point quickly is painstaking. Edit, you can tell that I am live and not a recording because of my awkward painstakes. If you have a weird or amusing name, it will probably get made fun of by somebody. Industry, any job that involves working with customer data. Not an industry, but a profession. I'm a programmer. The dirty little secret, if Stack Overflow were to ever go down, all work in departments across the globe would grind to a halt. Hospital worker. The elevators break down more times than you could imagine. We usually say they are down for maintenance so the public doesn't get nervous about the elevator somehow dropping all the way to the basement. You would also not believe how many pests can come through, such as flies, bed bugs, and mice. Bonus. At my hospital, when a housekeeper is told to clean a spill, it is actually a code phrase for remove the dead rat. Few years ago I used to clean hotel rooms. It may have been unique to the company I worked for, but we were ridiculously underpaid and given very little time to clean a room properly. It was common that if someone only slept a night or two in a bed, it was just remade without changing sheets. In rooms that had glasses, like actual glass ones, it was quicker to wash them in the sink than go for new ones. Even if that included wiping them dry with the same towel you used to wipe the last room shower sink mirror with. Or occasionally even toilet. Seriously. Never drink of a hotel glass unless it's sealed in a bag. Maybe not as scandalous as some things here, but I don't think people realize how wasteful live theater tends to be. Some places make an effort to reuse materials, but even then there's a sheet ton of painted lumber, foam, and decommissioned props that go straight to the dump after the set's torn down. I work at a lingerie store. I know your bra size the second I lay my eyes on your tits. I tend to do this when I'm not working and accidentally stare at people's chests. Sounds like you have a shitty superpower. I wonder what your hero villain name would be. If you ask a nurse, there are doctors we would never want caring for us, our family or friends. People hate to see trees cut. So now when the paper and lumber companies cut land near the freeway, they leave 10 yards of trees. The next time you're driving and see trees, look and see if they stop in about 30 feet. Live in Indiana in the US and can confirm. The entire horizon for miles and miles is just little rows of trees to make it look like they didn't take down the forest behind them. I work in the insurance fraud investigation litigation industry. And you would not believe how much fraud there is out there. And I'm not even talking individual con artists. I mean doctors and lawyers. Working together. Scamming the insurance companies for hundreds of millions all the time. The fun part? Insurance companies don't really care. So long as the executives get their fat bonus at the end of the year. This was told to me and my colleagues by an insurance company's own fraud investigator, who we work for. And that he has to regularly beg to keep us on the payroll despite the fact that we recover millions upon millions in revenue lost to fraud for our client. Fun times. Fun times. We don't drain the pool after a kid throws up. We chlorinate the heck out of it. The bacteria are dead. We clean the crud out. But draining and refilling a pool would be waste of time and water. Seriously. Though. It's clean when we're done. You won't get sick from whatever Charlie had before he upchucked. Don't work there anymore but used to intern at a zoo, and we kept a dead alligator in the meat freezer until he could be properly disposed of. And we got a meat delivery early and people walked by and the head of the zoo just immediately went to calling it something that made it sound just like a food item, but no, it was a dead animal not meant for consumption. Also the break room had animals in it all the time. And animals fall loose frequently. We had a bunny jail for the rabbits that refused to stay in their enclosure that everyone could see. And we 100% were talking about the bullshit you did if you did something stupid to the animals. I miss that job. Kinda wish I'd stick with it, but it wouldn't have worked out. Perhaps not scandalous, but the urine pregnancy tests used in physicians' offices and hospitals have the same accuracy as the cheap no-name brands you can buy at box stores. It's a $45 charge for the test where I work. Not as glamorous as some. The construction industry, even in the UK, has big problems with what we call modern slavery. It's always the same formula. Young men are rounded up in Eastern Europe, told there's a fixer who can get them a good job in Italy, France, Germany, Britain. They won't even have to pay anything up front when they arrive. The UK is preferred as it's outside the EU free travel zone. Their passports are taken and they are told they have massive debt they have to pay back. They are boarded in tiny hovels with one bedroom between maybe 4 people. We're getting better at detecting it than we used to be. But there's an awful lot of progress to be made. Your software is held together with duct tape, glue, hopes and dreams. It is a terrible, buggy mess built by the finest Indian programming minds fresh from school. The cheaper, the better. We don't know there are bed bugs in a room until someone calls to complain about it. We can only treat the space so much, but people will just bring them back again. Some of your favorite artists are making extensive use of canned backing tracks at concerts. When I first read this, I thought you meant artists as in painters. And so I couldn't figure out what you meant. Like, why would Bob Ross have used canned backing tracks? What does that even have to do with painting? A huge amount of social science research is shoddy and impossible to replicate. Nobody wants to do replication work because it's not as exciting and harder to get funded because the groups that fund such research want new exciting findings. Software developers are usually very specialized in coding for a specific platform and don't know how to fix your PC issues. I have worked with developers who know less about PC troubleshooting than my 75-year-old dad. Dental hygienist, we can 100% tell if you floss. Like, don't even bother lying honestly. It's so easy to know who flosses and who doesn't. Your car insurance company tries to make us use parts off of junkyard cars to repair yours instead of buying new parts. And 99% of body shops have to do it or the insurance companies won't send them any work in the future. Demand new parts from your insurance company, guys. That's what you're paying for. There are no unedited pictures anywhere. Any casual portrait your photographer friend had taken? I can assure you the time was spent to make you a better version of yourself. I sometimes get requests to alter some minor things on a pictures that were really stretched thin before and presented as neutral. This is a part of my job. Saying that, don't ask me to show anything right away on camera. You'll only feel worse. Most popular songs are written with only 4 chords. And generally the same intervals and the same beats. Only thing that changes a bit is the melody and the lyrics. Forensic analysts know how to get all of your data, regardless of medium. Video game tester. All those bugs that end up in ship titles. Yeah. Everyone from production to development to QA knew about them. Think of the buggiest title you know of. Can pretty guarantee everyone knew about those issues and it was agreed to ship with them. TL. Doctor, I work in radio in Canada. We have to play Nickelback because it's the law. We have Canadian content regulations. Or CanCon for short. 35% of the music we play has to be made in Canada. And a lot of crap, for example, Nickelback, has made it to air over the years, all in the name of hitting con targets. Most industrial control systems have very little security. It frustrates its security specialists. But the vast majority of production managers judge the potential loss due to being hacked as significantly less than the potential loss due to enhanced security measures complicating the control system. Automation vendors are being pressured to include more security, but their customers are choosing not to implement it. Used to work in an emergency room. Everyone gets the same medical treatment. But I'll be sure to grab you an extra blanket, pillow, juice box if you're nice. If you're screaming profanities at me while I'm putting you on a bedpan, I probably won't come in to check on you as often. How disgusting the inside of municipal water supply systems tend to be. I'm not talking about a Flint situation here. I mean a normal system that tests clean at the faucet, but if you open the line up somewhere before the meter, you're just like, ugh. College is a business. Believing in what they say about your future is like believing what your worst Facebook friend posts about the oil rollers they're selling. Update: non-profit schools face different but similar pressures to raise money and grow. I'm told non-profits outside the education industry are also a mess, because humanity. I work at Starbucks. And there is no regard for waste whatsoever. No recycling. Every single thing is individually wrapped with as much plastic as deemed necessary. And at least at our store, we've thrown entire sleeves of cups away and whole packs of straws because the knife opening the box ripped the plastic and it's unsanitary, and those kinds of ideas. Hard to think of examples off the top of my head. But every single day I'm appalled at the waste we go through. And we're not even in food services nearly as much as now, an actual restaurant. Don't get me started on the food waste too. One night I took home 20 sandwiches that were going in the trash because they were going out that day. Just so they wouldn't actually go to waste. I've taken home hundreds of dollars worth of product that was expired just so it wasn't wasted. And I've only been there 5 months. Departments in most companies and industries are an underappreciated afterthought. People in it are constantly pressured to do more work with no additional compensation and with less resources than required to keep up with the workload. There are a lot of errors in just about every in-ground pool. You just hope they all get covered up well enough after final grading pause. Better hope everything is level enough. Some lawyers don't always know more than their legal assistants nor the law that they are practicing. Not shocking, I guess. Like going to a gynecologist to check your ears. They can change their specialty which they practice without any further education than they got when they first passed the bar. Used to work in hotels. Hope to dear God I don't have to go back. Sites like Expedia or Prismaline can and will book you a room when the entire hotel is sold out unless the manager specifically takes action to block them from doing so. Some managers give a shit and turn off that function. Some want every penny they can get and will just leave their staff to explain to you why you don't have a room. If you don't want this to happen to you, you need to book through the hotel's website or by calling them. A company I used to work for makes semi-finished products that are sold to distributors who remove our markings and add their own, then sell them to end users who use them in a variety of applications. On a couple of occasions end users would drop distributor A for distributor B because B would claim that they had a superior product. They are in fact selling the exact same product.